The white supremacists only go so far in their hatred. So when we look at this day, I want to ask you, Eldric, because you're working with the young people, when you link the legacy up with what you've heard from Mr. Cox, what do you hope will happen that day for young people on July 17th? And down in Alabama, good old Montgomery, come on, tell us about
it. Well, one thing we do know is that history was made in Montgomery, but history is still in the making in Montgomery. And Montgomery and Alabama in itself is a very historic area where we had bus boycotts. You had college students protesting, even down to high school students protesting back in the 50s, 60s, and, 1940s. So there's still that much energy down here in Alabama. And the Youth and College Division, more so specifically of the NAACP, we have about 800 members across the state. And everyone's just fired up and they're ready to go. So we're trying to make sure that we're getting at least 5 people registered per person. We have that goal, and that'll help us succeed a 5,000, near 5,000 registration goal just for that day. And we're always just making sure that people are continuing that fight for justice. Right now, I don't know, you see what's going on or what happened at the University of Alabama. We had people on the ground protesting that. Different injustice in this country, we still are standing up for it down here in good old Alabama. Now, we are up against a lot down here, but we are still fighting. And the people that are my age, we're out here, we're ready to go, and we're ready for any obstacle that will be in our direction of where we're trying to go, because we're going forward. We're moving onward and upward.
Wow.
All right.
And Mr. Cox, that raises, I'm sorry, Barr, that raises a really interesting question for you, Mr. Cox. I know that, and we know that, the NAACP, when John Lewis was growing up, it was banned in Alabama. They could not have an NAACP in Alabama when John Lewis was growing up. And today now we hear, Eldric talking about leading this John Lewis Day of Action in the name of many organizations, including the NAACP. Is there a message, Mr. Cox, that you have for these young voters today regarding their involvement in not just July the 17th, the day that John Lewis passed away, this John Lewis Day of Action, but beyond July the 17th in order to stand up for democracy?
Yeah. So one of the things that, I worked very well. Derek Johnson, who's the president and CEO of the NAACP, and I worked very closely on the civic engagement campaign that the NAACP is working on. And they understand that, that as you go on, you not only have to have the demonstrations. One of the things that's very impressive to me about these demonstrations, before I continue, is that they are they're dispersed. They're in, Utah. They're in this place. They're in that place. And hopefully, they're in the small towns. And even if 2 or 3, 15 people are gathered, that is extremely important, because people are using their time and energy throughout the country where it's going to make a difference. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I think probably of all the organizations that I've seen in terms of what's going on in terms of political engagement, the NAACP is probably the most advanced. I've been working with the NAACP since 2018 to try to stand up a civic engagement program that would allow us as a group of Black people to act in concert in various places. One of the places that, and so whether you're talking about Memphis, or whether we're talking about Clarksdale, Mississippi, or whether we're talking about Illinois somewhere, or Chicago, or so forth, the kind of organizing that it's going to take and disciplines going to take is something that I think the NAACP has thought more about than most. So I'm working with them on that. So, and I think Derek Johnson is the CEO, but Derek Lewis, I guess I've worked with him also, who is the president, I guess just past president of youth and college for the NAACP. So I think the thing that I would say is this. First, that continue the demonstrations in the diverse as possible, because what that does, it allows you to be a trusted messenger, just as Ms. Baker was a trusted messenger. You're just not showing up around election time. You are there today. You're there tomorrow. So people know who you are. The second thing that was important is that when organizations like the NAACP are conducting an electoral campaign that tells people, how they should organize to make sure that they have the greatest impact on a particular election, we need to engage in that also. So we need to have a two-pronged strategy. That is to say, a movement strategy where we build our community, where we build relationships, where we build trust. And then we ought to have an electoral strategy which says we're going to use that organization and that trust to effect change and begin to control the government that impacts our lives.
Yes, and I want to point out that we're so grateful for the Georgia NAACP, for Montgomery's, for so many people around the country. I do want to point out that I need the National to step up and join the John Lewis Day of Action. I need that. So that leadership can come in and play. There are so many amazing groups out there doing great work. I'm so glad that Black Voters Matters is part of our coalition. I'm so glad that TJC is out there boldly doing what needs to be doing. I'm so glad for Indivisible, for all of these groups. But if your organization is not on the partner list, go to Good Trouble. LivesOn.org. If your organization is not on the partner list, there's a problem. Make sure that they join, that they are in the leadership, that they are working side by side with us to say that in this time, in this movement that's in the street, that we're going to center racial justice, that we're going to center the fight for voting rights and against voter suppression, that we're going to center the fight for democracy. We're a multiracial democracy. Let me be very clear. We must, everyone, make sure that all our voices are being heard, that we're all supporting, that we're all doing the work. Now, tomorrow, again, we want to remind everybody, we're going to have the Shelby program. Guess who's going to be one of our speakers, everybody? Senator Alex Padilla, yes. The very senator who was unlawfully handcuffed by ICE. We're going to also have, and he's going to speak about this moment in time and about why we got to keep organizing. We're going to have the mighty Terry Sewell, Congresswoman Terry Sewell, who will speak about her fight to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and she will bring that. We're going to have Congressman Morrell speak. So we're going to have other people involved, and then we're going to go into the organizing part of the meeting, where we will talk about how we are organizing to make sure that we turn out in these streets, that we are, strong, bold, and that we stay in the streets, that it's not a one-off, people. As you've heard from Mr. Cox, this is about building movement. You got to have a long-term vision. You got to have a long-term commitment, a long-term heart for this work. So we're going to go into our organizing session. You can go to goodtroubleliveson.org and sign up. goodtroubleliveson.org. Sign up for this week, next week, the week after. We are serious about doing this fight throughout 2025, 2026, and into the future. So, Daryl, I'm sorry, I just had to get all of that out real quickly.
Oh, no.
I know that you have some other, questions before our show ends. We are at the end of our show right now. Yes, sir.
We're certainly coming up on the end of the show, but certainly, Barbara, want to certainly mention that we have a lot of partners. They can all be found on the Good Trouble GoodTroubleLiveOn.org list, along with the Declaration for American Democracy, Public Citizen, League of Women Voters, Leadership Conference. All of them are in. Donna Gutman, if folks want to get in contact with you and the Chicago Women Take Action and find out about the flagship that's happening there, how do they get in contact with you?
Well, we have a website, ChicagoWomenTakeAction.org, and glad to give you my personal email. That's good because it's dgutman2, DGUTMAN2 @gmail. I'm glad to respond, and I'd like to just say one more thing that makes me kind of put it all in context. And it's something Ann Richards said, is if you're not at the table, you're probably on the menu. So
there you go.
The table.
There you have it.
We all, everybody get to the table on July 17th, okay? You got to be there.
Thank you.
Know?
Thank you.
So appreciate that. Appreciate it. Same question to you, Eldric Coleman. My brother, if people are trying to reach you, how do they reach you to find out what's happening in Alabama?
You can reach us at NAACP_AL, or you can reach me personally on Instagram at Eldric Coleman. That's ELDRICCOLEMAN.
Thank you so much, Eldric. Love you. And
love
and
you more.
Mr.
Thank you.
And Mr. Cox, we're going to give you our last word. If you could quickly, less than a minute, tell our national audience your last, word for this show, what you want people to know about what they need to do as individuals in this time.
Yeah, I think, first of all, that we should continue, as people are doing now, we should make up our minds that we are going to be the people who determine what goes on in the United States. 2, that we decide that we will be the actors and we will take the actions. 3, that we will deal with the organizing and outreach that it takes to do it, and we will go to any town, hamlet, village, anywhere to spread the word. I think those are the things that we need to focus on.
Thank you so much. You are our hero. Thank you. Go ahead, Daryl. Take us home.
Yep, thank you so much, Mr. Cox, for being with us today. We certainly enjoyed the lesson that you brought forward, the history lesson. Eldric Coleman, thank you so much for being with us. Donna Gutman, thank you so much for being with us. Folks, we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. You can go to GoodTroubleLiveOn.org to get information about where and how to access the online meeting that we will have. That we'll be talking about, the July 17th activation. We look forward to seeing you on that time tomorrow. It was an incredible show and guests that we've had today. We've learned so much, and we've got to put it into action. You know how I'm going to end it? You know what we do here at Igniting Change? We say it's time to get off the sidewalk, get into the street, get in some good trouble, and let's make America the best version of itself, a multicultural, inclusive society where everybody's talents can be truly appreciated. Until next Tuesday, noon, Eastern Standard Time, peace, everybody.
Peace.
The preceding program was paid for by Barbara Arnwine.
News Talk 1450 and 95.9 WOL with the Carl Nelson Show. Weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. Reverend Al Sharpton keeping it real from 1 to 4 p.m. And the Tavis Smiley Show from 4 to 7 p.m. Download our mobile app and take us everywhere you are or listen live at WOLDCnews.com. The news and issues that matter to you most from Carl Nelson, Reverend Al Sharpton, and Tavis Smiley on 1450 and 95.9 WOL.
In this one small world, we share together.
There are lots of good things we can still share.
We can share hope.
We can share laughter. We can share encouragement.
We can share inspiration.
We can share unity.
We can share healing.
We can share joy.
We can share love.
We can share truth.
So during these times, we can't forget.
We can beat this together.
Because together,
we are one.
1450 WOL, Washington, D.C. 95.9 W240DJ, WMMJ HD3, WDCJ FM HD3, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.